Good evening, everyone. I've learned something powerful over the years. Something that isn't taught in schools, and certainly not encouraged in a world that loves noise. The power of silence. Yes, silent weakness, not surrender, but strength in disguise. You see, I've walked into rooms where I was doubted, laughed at, judged, not because of who I was, but because of what I wasn't expected to be. And every single time I had two choices: react or rise. Silence. It's a language of the powerful. In a world where everyone is screaming to be heard, where noise is mistaken for influence, choosing silence is an act of rebellion. It takes incredible strength to remain calm when chaos surrounds you. Anyone can raise their voice, but only a few can raise their standards. When you choose to be silent, you are not surrendering. You are choosing to stand in your stillness with dignity. It means you are so grounded within yourself that you don't need the approval of the outside world to validate your worth. It means you've evolved to a level where not everything deserves your energy, your words, or your time. People often mistake silence for weakness, especially when you don't clap back, when you don't defend yourself loudly. But they don't realize that your silence is a shield. It's not that you can't respond, it's that you know better. You've reached a point where you're no longer driven by the need to react to every little thing. Because truthfully, reacting is easy. It's automatic. But staying still when every part of you wants to lash out, that takes discipline. That takes power. That's when you become unshackable. You begin to realize that the loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest. Sometimes, it's the quietest who holds the most control. There's something incredibly magnetic about a person who doesn't flinch when challenged. A person who hears the gossip, sees the shade, feels the tension, and still chooses peace. That silence, that composure, it unnerves people. It makes them question their own noise. Because when you don't respond, you don't give away your power. You keep it. And when you keep it, you rise. You rise above the petty, above the insecure, above the desperate need to be right. Your silence becomes your crown. It becomes your armor. And the world begins to realize that nothing they throw at you can break the calm you've built. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you're not pretending, you're protecting. You're telling the universe, I'm not here to engage in battles that don't serve my growth. And that is a bold, powerful message. You stop feeding the drama, the noise, the tension. You stop playing their game. Because the truth is, the game was never meant for you. You're playing in a different league. One where your focus is on elevation, not confrontation. And when people see you thriving in silence, they get confused because they expected a reaction. Instead, you gave them excellence. Silence is not emptiness. It's intentional space. It's the room you give yourself to think clearly, to feel deeply, to grow authentically. It's the difference between reacting and responding with wisdom. And in that space, you build strength. The kind of strength that doesn't need to scream. The kind of strength that speaks through presence, not volume. You don't chase attention. You don't explain your worth. You just are. That alone makes you untouchable. Because when people realize you're not easily provoked, they also realize they can't control you. And that realization shakes them more than any insult ever could. So the next time someone underestimates you, belittles you, or tries to trigger you, breathe, pause, smile, say nothing, let them wonder. Because what you're doing in silence is louder than any comeback. You're building. You're growing. You're becoming. Let your stillness be your storm. Let your grace be your fire. And let your silence, your beautiful, unwavering, intentional silence, be the proof that nothing and no one has the power to steal your peace. There's a sacred power in protecting your inner peace. A kind of wisdom that comes from knowing your energy is too valuable to waste on everything that pulls at you. In a world full of noise, opinions, and provocations, it's easy to get caught in the trap of reacting to every little thing. But once you start valuing your peace, you begin to realize not everything deserves your attention, your reaction, or your explanation. Peace is not the absence of problems. It's the presence of calm in the middle of storms. And when you choose that calm, when you choose you start to glow differently. You start to walk away from the noise with your head held high. Not because you're afraid to fight, but because you've decided some battles just aren't worth your time. You see, every time you respond to negativity, you give it power, you feed it, and it grows. But when you stop responding, when you stop letting every opinion shake your spirit, something magical happens. The drama fades. The distractions lose their grip on you. You begin to operate from a place of clarity instead of chaos. And that shift is where your real power lies. Because when you protect your peace, you're not just avoiding conflict. You're setting boundaries. You're telling the world, I respect myself enough to walk away from anything that disrupts my soul. And that self-respect becomes the compass for every decision you make. Some people will misunderstand your silence. They'll call it arrogance. They'll label your boundaries as being too cold or too distant. But that's only because they're used to access without accountability. They're used to having a front row seat to your energy, even when they haven't earned it. The moment you start preserving your peace, you disrupt that pattern. You start choosing solitude over meaningless conversations, stillness over chaos, and focus over petty distractions. And yes, it might mean you lose some people, but trust me, what you gain in return is far more valuable: your sanity, your confidence, your power. When you stop reacting to every little thing, you create space. Beautiful, sacred space for the things that truly matter. You start putting your time into your growth, your goals, your passions. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop trying to prove your worth to those who were never really listening. And in that space, you find something priceless: peace of mind. A kind of peace that isn't loud, but firm. It doesn't scream, but it stands tall. It becomes your foundation. Unshakable, rooted, powerful. It's easy to be reactive, to clap back, to answer every insult, every rumor, every slight. But maturity is knowing when silence serves you more. It's knowing that not every argument needs a winner. Sometimes, winning is simply walking away with your spirit intact. Sometimes, the greatest act of strength is to keep your peace while everything around you tries to disturb it. And when you learn that, when you live that, you stop chasing validation. You stop performing for the crowd. You start living for you. Peacefully, purposefully, powerfully. So choose peace over and over again, like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your peace is your power. Your peace is your freedom. And once you truly understand that, you'll never again let the world steal it for something temporary. You'll protect it like the treasure it is. Because at the end of the day, the quiet mind always wins. The focused soul always rises. And the one who walks away calmly, without bitterness or noise, is always the strongest person in the room. There's a quiet kind of confidence that comes from doing the work and saying nothing. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to announce your plans to the world. And you don't need to react every time someone questions your potential. Because deep down, you know the truth. Real power doesn't need to shout. It simply shows up, does the job, and lets the results speak. That kind of power is magnetic. It's irresistible. It's the kind that draws people in not with loud promises, but with undeniable performance. When you start letting your work speak for you, You move from seeking attention to earning respect. And that shift changes everything. It's so tempting to explain yourself, to defend your journey, to tell people what you're about to do, how hard you're working, how much you've overcome. But the truth is, no amount of words can substitute for action. People can ignore your voice, but they can't ignore your results. That's why the smartest move you can make is to stay focused, stay grounded, and stay in your lane, building, growing, creating in silence. Because when you emerge, you don't just have promises. You have proof, and proof silences everything. The doubters, the critics, even your own moments of self-doubt. Letting your work speak isn't just about career goals or external success. It's a mindset. It's a way of living. It means showing up fully in everything you do. Your relationships, your purpose, your passion. It means being so committed to excellence that even when no one's watching, you give your best. Because eventually the world will watch. And when they do, you want your actions to be undeniable. You want your progress to be unignorable. You want to walk into rooms where your reputation precedes you. Not because you talked your way in, but because your consistency built the door. The loudest people are often the most insecure. They want to be seen, they want to be praised, they want to be validated. But those who are truly powerful, they don't need the spotlight to feel worthy. They understand that growth doesn't happen under bright lights. It happens behind closed doors, in quiet hours, in unseen effort. So while others are busy making noise, they're busy making moves. And when the time is right, the results will be so loud, so clear, that no introduction will be necessary. That's the art of letting your work speak. It says everything you never had to. You will be underestimated. You will be questioned. There will be people who expect you to fail, who count you out before you've even started. Let them. Let them watch. Let them talk. But don't waste your breath trying to convince them otherwise. Show them. Not with your words, but with your growth, with your wins, with your transformation. Because the most satisfying victory isn't proving them wrong with arguments. It's proving them wrong with undeniable results. It's becoming so focused on your own lane that their opinions become background noise to the symphony of your success. At the end of the day, your emotions don't create legacy. Your actions do. Your rants won't be remembered, but your impact will. So choose the path of the door, the builder, the finisher. Keep your head down and your standards high. Work when it's hard. Show up when it's lonely. And when the moment comes, don't speak. Let your work do it for you. Because when the work speaks, no one can deny it. Not even those who try to ignore you. There's a kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud, flashy, or constantly on display. It's the quiet kind. The one that lives deep in your bones, steady and unshaken. That's the kind of confidence that turns heads without trying. The kind that allows you to walk into any room, hear every whisper, feel every stare, and still not flinch. Because true confidence isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about being so sure of who you are that the opinions around you lose their power. You don't rush to defend. You don't scramble to explain. You just walk, calm, collected, and rooted in your truth. It's easy to react when you're judged, to argue when you're misunderstood, to fight back when someone questions your worth. But real strength lies in restraint. It takes far more power to remain calm than it does to shout. It takes real courage to say, I don't need to convince you. When you stop needing external validation, you stop giving people the ability to control your emotions. Their opinions may still reach your ears, but they don't touch your spirit. And that, right there, is the mark of true confidence. The ability to stay grounded even when the world tries to shake you. Criticism will always exist. People will always have something to say. You could be doing everything right with the purest intentions, and still, someone will find a way to twist your story. But confidence in calmness means choosing stillness over noise. It's choosing grace over drama. You no longer live to be liked. You live to be aligned. Aligned with your purpose, your values, your direction. And when that alignment is real, you realize that people's opinions are just that. Opinions. They don't pay your bills. They don't walk in your shoes. And they certainly don't define your worth. The calmest person in the room often holds the most power. They listen more than they speak. They observe instead of reacting. They hold themselves with quiet dignity that commands respect without demanding it. When you reach that level of calm, you stop playing games. You stop performing. You stop trying to prove something that's already true. And the beautiful part, that calmness is contagious. It changes the energy around you. It disarms conflict, diffuses tension, and speaks louder than any outburst ever could. People may wonder why you're not bothered, why you don't react, why you don't fight back the way they expect. But what they don't see is the inner work you've done. The battles you've already fought inside yourself. You've already questioned your worth, tested your strength, built yourself back up. So now, when the world tries to shake you, it finds no cracks. That's not arrogance. That's evolution. That's what happens when you no longer need to prove yourself. Because you already know your value, with or without applause. So when judgment comes, and it will, let it pass like wind through your calm. Let the noise echo while you remain still. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't owe anyone your peace. True confidence is knowing that storms may swirl around you, but they don't live inside you. You've done the inner work. You've built the calm. And in that calm, you've found a confidence no one can take away. There comes a time in your journey when you realize that not every battle is worth your time. Not every comment deserves a reply. And not every insult needs a comeback. That's when growth starts. True maturity isn't in proving your point louder. It's in knowing when to walk away. Not because you're weak, but because you've simply outgrown the need to be right. Outgrowing doesn't mean you've forgotten how to fight. It means you've remembered what you're fighting for. And most of the time, it's peace, purpose, and progress, not pride. The higher you rise, the quieter you become, because you understand that energy is sacred, and not everyone deserves yours. When you start growing, really growing, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, the old you starts shedding. The version of you that used to clap back, used to chase validation, used to dive into every debate just to prove a point, slowly fades. And in its place, a calmer, more grounded version emerges. One that doesn't need to be seen all the time, doesn't need to be heard in every conversation. That version of you knows that proving someone wrong isn't success. Building a life so strong, so clear, so focused that no one's opinion can shake it, is. Small minds will always try to drag you into small conversations. They'll bait you with drama, tempt you with gossip, and test your patience with ego games. But your power lies in your refusal to shrink down to meet them. You are not built for back and forth battles with people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Your growth isn't measured by how well you argue. It's measured by how easily you can let go. How calmly you can say, "This is beneath me," and move forward without carrying the weight of that negativity. Because growth feels lighter, not heavier. It takes discipline to outgrow rather than outargue. It takes self-respect to let someone talk while you walk. And it takes vision, deep, soul-level vision, to keep your eyes on your own path when others are trying to distract you from it. Silence doesn't mean surrender. It means elevation. It means you're too busy watering your own garden to throw stones at someone else's. And the irony is, The more silent you become, the louder your success starts to speak. People may not understand it at first, but they'll feel it. In the way you carry yourself, in the peace you protect, and in the blessings you continue to attract. When you make the conscious choice to outgrow instead of out-argue, you start building a life where arguments simply have no place. You realize that your goals don't require anyone's permission, and your peace doesn't depend on their approval. You don't live to win arguments anymore. You live to win in life. And that's the biggest flex of all, that you can know the truth, hold it inside you, and keep walking. That you can choose your dreams over your ego. That you can let them have the last word, while you have the last laugh. Not out of spite, but out of sheer focus. So, if someone tries to pull you into a conflict, don't give in. If someone wants to test your growth, don't revert. You've come too far to turn back now. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Let them underestimate you. Just don't stop growing. Don't stop building. Don't stop becoming. Because outgrowing someone isn't about proving you're better. It's about becoming too focused, too elevated, and too committed to your own evolution to ever be dragged back into smallness. And in that quiet, graceful rise, you win every time. There's something undeniably powerful about becoming everything they said you couldn't be, and doing it without saying a word. You don't have to fight back with anger. You don't need to throw shade. And you certainly don't have to lower your standards to match their expectations. Just rise, quietly, consistently, relentlessly. That glow they see on you, that peace in your eyes, that fire in your purpose. It's not just success, it's transformation. And the people who doubted you will notice. They always do. Because nothing disrupts a critic's comfort like watching you shine in silence. Your glow isn't about showing off. It's about showing up for yourself, for your dreams, for everything you once thought you weren't capable of. Every step forward, every goal achieved, every ounce of peace earned, that's your comeback. That's your loudest response to every person who misunderstood your silence, overlooked your efforts, or tried to dim your light. You don't have to shout, "Look at me now." You simply let it be, or fearlessly, unapologetically. And in doing so, you write a story that speaks louder than any argument ever could. The beauty of letting your success speak for itself is that it doesn't just silence doubt. It inspires. People will wonder how you kept going, how you kept glowing, how you kept your spirit alive, while moving through things that were meant to break you. But they won't see the battles you fought in private, the tears you wiped in silence, or the nights you stayed up building yourself piece by piece. They'll only see the result, a stronger, wiser, more radiant version of you. And that's what makes it so powerful. You didn't fight them. You chose to free yourself instead. Staying grounded while you grow is the secret weapon. It means you don't get distracted by pettiness. You don't chase applause. You don't waste your energy trying to prove your worth. You just keep evolving. Let them throw shade. You'll keep building. Let them gossip. You'll keep glowing. Because the truth is, when your focus is sharp and your heart is clean, life has a way of aligning everything in your favor. You'll attract peace. You'll attract opportunities. And most importantly, you'll attract respect. Not by force, but by presence. Revenge doesn't always have to be destructive. Sometimes it's as soft and stunning as a healed soul. Sometimes it's simply being happy, genuinely, deeply happy, in a life you created for yourself. That kind of revenge doesn't hurt anyone, but it certainly unsettles those who expected you to fail. When they see you thriving, not out of spite but from purpose, they realize they never had power over you. They couldn't stop your glow. They couldn't dim what was meant to shine. And that realization is louder than any words you could ever say. So stay focused. Stay disciplined. Stay close to the vision you have for yourself. The most graceful way to handle those who tried to break you is to become so successful, so centered, so full of light, that they have no choice but to watch you rise. Not because you wanted to prove something, but because you refuse to be anything less than who you were born to be. Let your glow be the response. Let your peace be the punchline. And let your life, beautifully, brilliantly lived, be the ultimate revenge. In the end, silence, growth, and focus are not signs of weakness. They are the quiet indicators of someone who is deeply rooted in their purpose. You don't need to react to every critic, respond to every rumor, or win every argument. Your real victory lies in your ability to rise above it all and continue evolving with grace. Let your journey speak louder than your words. Let your peace be louder than their noise. And let your success, steady, unstoppable, and unapologetic, be the final word in every conversation they try to pull you into. Because the most powerful statement you'll ever make is the life you build in silence.